G'day. What's on your wall? When is the last time it changed? And why does it even matter? Oftentimes, I think we tend to underestimate how much the environment in which we operate, the environment in which we work, really impacts the ability that we have to get things done. I mean, if you're in a business that has, say, a retail shop front, you're very conscious of creating a great retail space that is dynamic, that is changing, that is motivating for people to purchase or to at least inquire. But then in your office space, what have you got around you? And I was thinking about this the other day, and you talk about people with their big motivational posters in their office, and I'm like, nah, never really been my kind of thing. But I started thinking about what's in my office. And if you're on the video, as you can see behind me, there's not much on the wall behind me. But what I did start doing is looking at what's actually around in this office and thinking to myself, how is that impacting me? What messages is that sending me? A lot of the time subconsciously, but is that really helping me either get results or to put plans in place or to just get stuff done? So what I'm going to do now, if you bear with me, I'm going to flip the camera and I'm going to take a quick walk around my office and have a look at what's on my wall and what messages and images are really surrounding me and whether that's actually a good thing or not. Starting with the calendars on my wall, the annual leave schedule and my 4-month planner of sort of where I'm going, what my trips are, which is important to me because that's basically my life right there at a glance. And then I get onto this massive whiteboard which has got a whole bunch of stuff, a bit of blue ocean strategy stuff, random ideas that I've thought of. This is supposed to be kind of my thought canvas, but it's got a bit cluttered. It hasn't really got anything fresh, anything new there for a while. And it gets lost in this other stuff, like say this blue ocean stuff that I've got there, which was mainly used for a presentation. So I'm not sure that's the most motivating board that it was really intended to be. Then I've got these random pieces of artwork on the wall, which mean absolutely nothing to me. They were basically just stuff that came out of one of our shipments for one of our spas, and so we stick them up on the wall. I could be using this space so much better to do something to kind of get me thinking about where I'm headed and what I'm doing. Down to the desk space itself, a picture of my beautiful wife, of course, which I do need. The desk is basically stuff that I think I'm going to get to, or that I think I can't quite put away, projects in the process. But again, they're cluttering the space. They probably don't need to be there. A bunch of to-do lists, which I do live on. In fact, I'll talk about to-do lists a bit later on. My coffee cup, which tells me that I'd rather be having a beer, which even now at 10:30 in the morning is probably accurate, which is a little sad. A bunch of magazines, business magazines that I figure I'm going to get to at some point, and I've identified maybe 1 or 2 articles in there that I really want to read, but as you see, they tend to kind of pile up. And over to the stuff that actually gets a little bit interesting, really, and this is a bunch of little mementos. That there is the bottle of truth, and that represents a conversation I had with a boss many years ago about the importance of us being able to at least tell each other the truth. And so my theory was, when you're holding the bottle of truth, no harm can come to you. I thought about that on the fly, but I reckon it was a really smart idea because it gave me the cover to be able to say what needed to be said. Then beside it, we've got a 10-year anniversary poster that the graphics guys did up. And as you can see there, if you can pick it out, there's me as the incredible Mr. Incredible and the rest of the department heads. Now that, if I think about it, I just thought it was a really cool representation. But maybe if you really dig into it, I like it because I'm seen as the main character, whereas the bosses maybe not, if you really want to get psychological about it. This one is a piece of wood that I've got off a shipwreck in Victoria probably 35 years ago, the old Eliza Ramsden. I don't know what that represents. I just thought it was a nice, cool piece. Probably it's totally illegal to have it as well, I'm guessing, I'm not sure. There's my license plate from the car that I used to drive when I was working at the Olympics in Sydney for a couple of years. What does that represent? Probably one of the best times of my work life, career life, I guess. But maybe if you dig down also, it represents the fact that, at the time that I actually took that off the car, everyone else had already taken theirs off well before. I sort of felt it wasn't the right thing to do. Then eventually they sort of said you can take them anyway, but maybe that's a little bit of a stab at authority, but not quite the stab that you need. And then there is the Aussie barometer, which I just think is hilarious. It's basically a string on a piece of wood saying that if the string is dry, then it's sunny. If the string is wet, then it's raining. If the string is blowing around, then it's windy. What does that represent? That's from Harvey Bay, where we spent a lot of time as kids. Mum and Dad had a holiday house up there. So it represents, I guess, a bunch of good times. Now, all of this stuff that you see around you has basically not changed in the whole time that I've been in this office, or at least not for a long, long time. Now, is that really helping motivate me or not? What am I really thinking about when I look at these little trinkets and bits and pieces on the wall and on my bench around me? I'm not sure. So, the question for you is, in fact, just one moment, we'll flip back the camera. So the question for you is, what do you have on your wall? Do you think it's actually really helping you get motivated to do stuff? When's the last time you changed it? Because just like our retail spaces, if we don't change it very frequently, then it's going to get stale. And if you're sitting in your office looking at the same stuff all the time, of course it's going to get stale. So I just think it's an interesting maybe perspective to take into 2020. Now's a good time to maybe think about what you're going to do next year, how you're going to do it. Maybe it's a good time to redecorate your office and think about what's on your wall. Alrighty, that is it for today. I do thank you for your time, and I will be back again tomorrow. See ya.